In interviews, we have a very basic question asked, and that is the execution order of SQL query. And if you see, if you ask many people, I think most of them gets confused, at least at a freshers level. So here we will see how exactly uh, the execution order of SQL query is, and maybe you can think of it as like a recipe of a food where uh, you know the ingredients, and but the chef actually has a process defined while cooking the food. So maybe we can think like this, and for this we will use this query to understand how this works, and then SQL, I mean extended uh, planning of in Spark we can see. So if we see this query, from the query itself we can see the first of all, to get the data, what the query needs to do, that it needs to see from where it needs to get the data, right? So from executes first. So from this table we are supposed to get the data. So before any filtering happens, any group by or any aggregation, first it needs to know from where the data needs to be taken. So that's why from executes first, and after we get from where the data needs to be taken, then the filtering happens. So from fair amount greater than 100 in this case, this will happen after from, and then whatever the amount, whatever the data remains after this filtering, group by will happen. So first step will be from, then where, then the on the remaining data whatever we have, the aggregation will happen, and for that group by will happen. And after grouping, we will get the sample data, and after we get the sample data, on that data we will do aggregation. Here you can see I have written having count star greater than 0 because I do have data like this, and I also uh, can show the in the logical plans what this happens, what the how Spark handles this. So basically from, then where, then group by, then having, and in having this aggregation happens. Then after this everything happens, then select will happen, then we get a particular kind of data. And after selection, so the projection, we can say, it happens, then the actual order by happens. And that is because, well, after selecting we have actual data, and on that data we can do, I mean, order by happens. So in short, the query execution is like this: from, then where, then group by, then having, then select, and at the last order by. Now if we want to see how Spark can explain, how Spark explains this in a better way, so we can write explain extended and then our query. So it will give us past logical plan, then analyzed logical plan, then optimized, and physical plan. So let us understand what is that. So as I said, first uh, from will happen. So here first it will take the data, it will identify from where the data needs to be taken, then filtering will happen. So as I said, mentioned where, then after that aggregation will happen, and in aggregation will happen, that means group by will happen, and then this uh, count, sorry, group by will happen, and then this count greater than 1, so that is having that happens. And at the last moment we will having this sorting in the sense order by. So that is a parsed logical plan. Then analyzed logical plan, here what it will do, it will have this if we see relation, so it will check for if it exists already, if the table itself exists or not. So this is how it will first check, and then it will take the columns which it actually needs. Here if you see fair amounts, it will cast it to double, uh, cast in the sense if you see is greater than 100, it will cast it as double, and then it will filter it. Now it does know, this analyzed logical plan, that our fair amount is double and trip count is integer. So rest of it is similar to past logical plan. Now if we go to optimized logical plan, here what it will do, here it will check relation first, as in analyzed logical plan. Then it will only read two columns. If we see here, here we have pickup size, right? So we see in analyzed logical plan it will take only two columns. Then sorry, that's what I got confused here. If we see optimized logical plan, here it will just check projection. If you see projection is here, here it is there at the last. So it will in optimized plan, first it will check if the table exists, then it will do this filtering, and it will only select those two columns which we have in our query. If you see pickups zip, and we have fair amount, based on those we only have those conditions, so those two columns only. Then if we see here, here there was no null condition. Here in optimized logical can, first it will check is null condition, and then it will have and. Then this one thing, and another thing is, if we see in my query, I have written having count star greater than 0. This is unnecessary, right? So if we are doing pickup zip, that will give us count greater than 0 only. So by seeing the data, so it removes that. If you see here in filter, it casts 0 as big int. Here if you see, it is like this. So it will remove useless filter. Then comes our physical plan. And in physical plan, if you see photon, so photon is Databricks engine, and for SQL queries mainly it works, and it makes them run faster. Basically, in the end, if we have to say it in short, the sequence or the order of execution of a SQL query, it starts from, so that will give us from where to get the data. Then filtering, so it filters out and reduces the data. Then group by, and after grouping by, then having. So after grouping by and having, we get a subset of data, and then we select in the sense project the data, and on the projection, whatever the final data we have, then the order by executes, and then we get the final data in the projection. That's it from this video.